Hey, what's up, party people? Here we are once again with another edition of DJ to DJ. And today I have the honor of speaking to one of the DJs that is most watched on YouTube today. We're talking to DJ Barr. What up, bro? How are you, man?
What's up, man? Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Nah, man. Well, thank you for accepting the invite, man. I appreciate it.
No, no worries, man. I know it was a lot of back and forth. I'm sorry about
I know. I was
that.
like, well, maybe he's just way too busy. I was getting maybe he just he just doesn't have the time and stuff. And then when you
No, it's not even that. It's just that my Instagram Instagram filters my messages. So like if I'm not following somebody, like they have to go through I guess approval.
oh, okay,
And
okay.
my inbox has just been so filled up with questions over the years that I can't keep up with it anymore. So every now and then I'll like, all right, let me tackle a couple of these messages and I'll respond to somebody like, like a week later or so. So
Oh,
it's
that.
just
Well,
it takes me
I'm
a
glad that
while.
you got a chance to see mine, man. Because I was really, hoping to get you on, man. Because I mean, seriously, man, brother, you are one of the reasons that I'm doing this because you inspired me with everything that you do. And I was just like, man, this guy has got it going on. And in looking at your background, you really don't have a lot of years DJing compared to other people that I've interviewed, 15, 20 years plus. I mean, I think you've been doing it for like 9, 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. So just 10 years. I just completed 10 years. I started doing nightclubs and then I started doing the weddings, but it's all relatively new because I mean weddings I started that in 2017, so that's about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then the clubs I started, like 2010 was like my infancy. So even if you count that,
Yeah.
it's did about 4 years in the club scene, 4 or 5 years, and then
Wow.
so it's relatively it's not that. I mean, it does sound like a long time on paper when you say 10 years. I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. But
It
yeah,
doesn't
like
feel like it, man. It feels like
in
it's
the DJ
yesterday.
world, we're like, 10 years. All right. He's still a
Yeah.
novato, man. This guy's still in diapers, you know? So let's backtrack a little bit. So, I always ask the question. This is always the first question. So, how did you discover DJing? What was it that turned you onto it? How did you get started in the turntablism and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, man. So I kind of fell into it by accident. I guess there was always a little thing in me that always said that I was gonna be a DJ. Because I remember even back in middle school, I downloaded Virtual DJ and I would mess around with it on my computer. I remember there was a crack online. I used to go to YouTube and there was like a way you could crack Virtual
Yeah.
DJ. I had it, and like that's how I would listen to music. Like when I would listen to music, I would load up Virtual DJ and I would listen. I didn't consider myself a DJ. I didn't say, "Hey, I'm a DJ." It was
Right.
just a program that I had on my computer. I guess I just saw it as just like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. But then when I got towards like high school and towards the end of middle school, I was doing a lot of quinceañeras. A lot of my girl friends, they were having quinces and stuff, and then they would ask me, "Oh, you want to be part of my court?" And I would always say, "Yeah." I
Yeah.
was known as like that guy that like I was like in everybody's quince. So I started going to a lot of parties around that time, and I was just like, man, I started listening to these guys. I was like, they're not so good. I could probably do something better on my little computer. So then that's when I got the itch. Like towards the end of high school, I was like, you know what? Let me just get some gear. I mean, I've already been messing around with it for so long. So
That's
I
cool.
bought some gear, and then the rest is just history. I focused a lot on just creating content. I was really, I want to say, I was really one of the first people that like was just leveraging social media because that's
Mhm.
honestly how I kind of got my foot in the door. I started posting mixes on SoundCloud and just spamming my MySpace, my Facebook with just my mixes. I didn't work for anybody. It was just a bedroom DJ, and then I got
Mhm.
my first call. I was like, "Yo, this guy's always posting mixes on Facebook." Another DJ who worked at a club. It was like, "No, I don't feel like doing your Thursdays. I like doing my Saturdays."
Mhm.
So I got that's how I got the call. Really, just somebody who saw my post. It was like,
Wow.
"This kid is always posting mixes, so hire him."
That's cool. So now, was this the club owner or club promoter?
It was a promoter. It was a
Okay.
promoter. So I would always be pushing my mixes. that was like my SoundCloud was like my YouTube back then.
Mm-hmm.
I was just creating mixes every single weekend, every single week. You know, you would go to my SoundCloud, and there would be a new mix there, a new mix there, a new mix there, and I was very consistent with it. So I leveraged that a lot, which is something that most DJs were. Because I remember even when I started doing clubs, people were still doing the CD thing, and I was more of just like social, like my Facebook page, go do this, go do it. I was very digital DJ when it came to that sense.
That's good, man. That's good. That's awesome because, like, I mean, now it's crazy. I mean, because to get your Instagram and get followers, it's so intense. And how many followers do you have now on Instagram? You got something?
I think on Instagram I'm at 11,000.
Yeah, but you got like 55 on YouTube.
55 on YouTube.
That's
I just hit that.
Wild. That is intense. So at what point do you start saying, you know what, I'm going to start doing these things on YouTube, and you start transitioning to that?
Honestly, I was a little bit burnt out with DJing after a while. I was doing the club thing for a while, and I was starting to get a little frustrated, just because I felt like I was begging for work. You know, it would always be like, oh, you know, I'm working at this club. It'll be good for like a year or 2 years, and then it just starts slowing down, and then they start looking at who to blame. Oh, let's get rid of DJs, bring in new guys. So I was experiencing a lot of that, and I was just like, man, I hate this. Like, it started getting very dependent on how many people you can bring, and it was just pressure I didn't like, I guess. Like I didn't, you know, and I started really young, so you know, my friends would come out and support me, but they wouldn't come every single week. You know, it's tough when you're doing it every single week, especially. I got to a point where I was DJing 5 nights a week, different clubs it was tough. So, you know, I was just frustrated, you know, when I was looking for new work. It was just like, hey, bring me in. Like, you know, you just like, you got to show up to the place, you got to mingle. And I hated it. I was just like, man, I hate begging for work. I don't want to do this anymore. So in 2015, I was going through like a stage where I'm just like, you know what, I think this part of my life is over. I need to get like a real job. Because until then, you know, I started DJing in high school, and then that's all I've been doing. That was all I really knew. That was my only way I knew of making money, was DJing. Wow. I got like little side jobs there, but it was just like, you know, we'll work at a restaurant for like the summer, or work at a factory for like a summer, and then, you know, just be back to school, back to DJing. So DJing was just really like, just all I knew. So in 2015, I just came to a point where I was struggling to get work. I was just like, damn, I've been working at the same nightclubs for like 4 years. I'm not like, why am I not in Vegas? Why am I not like in Ibiza? Like I started feeling that. I'm just like, damn, am I just going to be the local DJ for life? Right. So I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to retire at the end of the year. That was my thing. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So 2015, I still was doing bars. I still was doing clubs, but I started getting really into just watching YouTube for entertainment's sake. My sister would watch a lot of vloggers, a lot of YouTubers, and I was like, oh, you know, I want to do that. And then I found out, you know, it's really hard to do what they do. They make it look so easy. I was just like, oh, these guys are just filming their life. That's it. I can do that. Then I realized my life wasn't very interesting. So, you know, I was just throwing everything I had at the board. I was like, all right, let me film me going on a vacation. Let me film me doing this. Let me film them unboxing my new iPhone. I was trying anything to see what would stick. And then I was just like, oh, my God. Like, I might as well just film these little gigs that I got. And I started filming the gigs, and sure enough, people took to it. They were just like,
you found the niche.
Yeah, but it was funny because, like, to me, it was just such an everyday thing. That was my norm, you know, so I didn't see it as special. I was just like, oh, you know, I do this every weekend. It's not, it's something like the travel YouTubers say it a lot. It's a lot easier to make a video when you're traveling somewhere everything is new to you. Right. But it's very hard to make a video on something that you do every day, because to you, it's the norm. You don't see it as interesting. Yeah. So that was something that I experienced. I was just like, wow, people are really interested in this DJ stuff. So I just went all in. I was like, all right, that's what you want. Here you go. I do it every week, so might as well.
I got to say that I think the thing that I like most about you is just how you are, how you present yourself. You're not trying to be the cool DJ. Well, check this out. Check it. I just got this new light, and we're gonna display it today. You know, I mean, you're just natural, just talking about it, and just being yourself, and saying, "This is what's gone. This is what we're going on. We're doing this. We're doing that. Blah blah blah." And it's just, I think people kind of gravitate to you because you're a likable guy, man.
Right. So I get that a lot. Like people tell me, "Oh, it feels like I know you,"
Yeah.
and it's honestly because the videos are structured in the sense that they're not meant to be preachy. I say it all the time. People are like, "Oh, you know, I learned so much from your videos," and I'm just like, I didn't even know I was teaching. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. It's very in the sense of like, this is just me doing, you know, this is just a day in the life sort of thing.
Mhm.
This is what I'm doing. This is how I do it. And I remember even when I first started, I used to like get into heated arguments with people because they were like, no, no, don't do it that way. What are you doing? And I'm just like, dude, shut up. Like I do this all the time. Like I know what I'm doing.
Right.
But then I just started taking it in. I was like, oh, maybe they have a point. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. But yeah, man, it's honestly just a day in the life. It's not meant to be, because I see a lot of content that gets pushed out by other DJs, and I'm less
Mhm.
like, man, this is very preachy. This is very like
Yeah. Yeah.
you're selling something, you're selling the knowledge, and I'm just like, man, I learned this, you know, just watching videos. You know, I
Hmm.
self-taught, so it's just like I'm not special. So like, I don't want you guys to think that I'm doing anything that's special either. It's just, it's simple. It's a day in the life. Just come follow me, see what I'm doing, and let me know if I can do it better, or let me know what you think. It's just
That's
like
cool.
bros hanging out. Bros hanging out.
Yeah, I like that. I like that line because you're all like, "What's up, bros?" I like that. And I was like, you
Yeah,
know, my line is brother. To me, everybody's my brother. Everybody's my
yeah,
sister. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And you're just like, "What's up, bros?" And just
yeah.
chilling, like dudes hanging out. You know?
Exactly. And I go back to it's storytelling. You know, I'm just trying to tell a story, convey a story. That's honestly, you know, when I started YouTube, it was just like, you know, people don't care about the camera, people don't care about the footage, people care about the story that you tell, and that's so true. It's
Yeah,
so true.
yeah.
Because when I started, I used to get really fancy with my edits, you know, try to make like real cinematic,
Uh huh.
and then nothing. Nobody would even comment like, "Wow, that was really nice editing. Wow, that you did a great
Right,
job
right.
with that." It would always be the context of things, what I was talking about. That's what people would always talk about. So I was just like, wow, people really do care about the content that you're putting out, not so much how you deliver it.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It's funny because, like, I do see like other people that do all this fancy stuff. Like you say, the editing, but it doesn't really keep you engaged.
Right.
Whereas you still, I mean, because your quality is still impeccable. It's still really good. You
Yeah.
know, I mean the your transitions and stuff, but you don't overdo it. And I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day where he was doing this video editing thing, and he started having fun with it on YouTube, and he shared it with a friend that I guess is in marketing or something. And he told him, dude, you're just going too crazy with the transitions and the effects. He goes, just keep it simple, man. He goes, you don't have to go
Yeah.
too crazy over it. Your content should be good enough. And it's exactly what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
You don't have to go overboard.
Yeah, and that's something that's actually kind of helped me when I transitioned into the wedding industry. Because I started getting brides saying, "Hey, can you send me a video of your work, but please don't send me a montage."
Hmm.
Because people are savvy to that. And
Yeah,
every time I see a DJ post like a highlight reel of just like, you know, a bunch of events, 30 seconds of them just rocking out,
yeah,
I just kind of roll my eyes. I'm just like, bro, I've been doing this for 10 years and I know it's not like that
yeah.
every single second of an event. It's a lot
Right.
of ups and downs, a roller
Yeah,
coaster. And people are savvy to that. They're just
yeah,
like, hey, we want to see like raw video of you working. I don't
yeah.
want you to send me a montage. Please don't put like a house song and then you like saying here's your bride and groom and then a bunch of like little cuts
Yeah.
of the actual party. People are like, send me a raw cut. And when I started doing like bar entertainment, I was just sharing like little snippets from my videos, and people gravitate to that because it's got like a whole, it's still got to be professional, presentable. I'm not
Hmm.
saying it's like totally sloppy,
Right.
but it's also got a grit of like this is like homemade. It's like he didn't fake this. Whereas then you can have I can make you a super produced video of
Right.
me rocking out at every single event and it'll be awesome, but it also be like a roll your eyes moment. Like, who does this guy think he is? You know, it's just like he's not like tomorrow. This isn't Tomorrowland. It's some wedding.
So at what point? I mean, like, because like I say, we're talking about your editing and stuff like that. You're really good at it. So did you, go to school for it? Did you just, is this just you practicing at home and learning, or?
Yeah, man, it's just everything. I did go to college, but I dropped out. I went to college for originally I went for business, and then midway through, I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to do radio. I'm a DJ. I need to be on the radio. That's what I need to do. And then I started doing the radio thing. But in hindsight, looking back, I was like, I should have just finished my business degree, because I was already 3 years in, and then I just transitioned into a new major. It was just like starting over fresh.
Yeah.
But then I just started DJing a lot. I was just like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to do the college thing anymore. I'm already working. So
yeah. It's probably best right now that you didn't get into radio. It has changed tremendously. Yeah.
That's always been a thing, man. I always wanted to be a radio, and I saw you have like a radio radio. I was like, oh, that's awesome. But yeah, man. I mean, when I started, I was emulating Alex Sensational. I don't know if you guys know him over in your.
I actually worked for SBS. That was the last gig I had. Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked over here for Mega 96.3 and La Raza.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I first started, like, I was learning just every day. I would be at work, or I remember like I would set an alarm clock because I was still in school, and they would do live transmissions from the club. And I remember my parents would be like, "Go to bed, you have school tomorrow." And I remember setting an alarm on my phone so that I could wake up at midnight when he would go on at the clubs, because what you hear at the radio station mix is way different than what it is live.
Live, oh yeah.
And I remember just falling in love with like the way he would mix at clubs, interacting with the crowd. I was like, wow, it's so different based on like his radio, because when he does his radio show, it feels like overproduced. It feels like it's too clean, and it's going back to I like a bit of the home feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember setting alarms on my clock, waking up and just tuning into the radio so that I could hear live club mixes. So I was emulating Alex Sensation a lot during that time. I was like, man, I want to do what he does. I want to be on the radio.
Yeah, he's something else, man, because he just started off just like all of us, DJing, and then somebody found him and said, let's give him a shot, and then he just started developing his personality and growing, and now he's producing, he's doing all kinds of stuff, man. He's really good.
Yeah, and when I started working at clubs, I started working at a couple of nice clubs, and I started getting some pull, as I worked there longer and longer. And I was just like, who we should bring? Alex. I was every week I was just like pushing for Alex. Right. He's like, yeah, he costs like 10 grand.
Yeah.
Okay. And eventually I got to work with him. I was just like, hey man, I love your work. But yeah, it was awesome to come full circle. And
that's cool. With him. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. So how did it feel when you started seeing the views going up and up and up? I mean, what was that like when you started noticing that you're grabbing all this attention?
Honestly, man, it wasn't an overnight thing. It was very, it was a slow grind. Like I look back onto it, and 2015 is when I started the channel, but 2016 is when I got serious about it. So it's been 4 years. And, it was never an overnight thing. It's always been a slow grind. So I never just woke up and was like, wow, look at all the views.
Right.
It was just, there was levels to it. I went from like, getting 50 views per video to 100 views, then 100 to 500, then 1,000. And then, in my head, I'm always trying to keep a tally. Like right now I'm like at 10,000. Like if a video doesn't hit 10,000 for me, I'm like, damn, that was a bad video. And I remember when I started, I was like, all right, now I'm at like, I remember being at 1,000. I was like, damn, if this video doesn't hit 1,000, I don't know what I'm going to do. Or like people must not like it. But I always set like little tiers for me. And like the tier that I'm at now is like 10,000. Like any video that doesn't break 10,000, I'm like, damn, that was not a good video.
Wow.
But it was like tiers to it. Cause I remember when I was doing 1,000, I remember I was like, come on, hit 1,000, hit 1,000. Come on, hit 1,000. And just waiting, because I would have videos ready, but I wouldn't want to upload them. Just waiting for that video to hit 1,000.
Yeah, keep it going.
Yeah,
that's funny. I saw the one video where you were talking about, I guess because you obviously now you're at that point where you got clients and vendors and sponsors and stuff that are sending you product because they want you to showcase it and talk about their stuff and things like that. But you mentioned in one of your videos the same thing. This was not an overnight thing. It's like, how cool is it? People were saying, how cool is it to get the free stuff and this and that. And you said it straight up, man. Dude, it took a lot of hard work to get to where it's
Yeah.
at. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, man. I guess it was something that always bothered me because I would always get the comment, "Oh, you get all this free shit," and
Mm.
it's one of the things that I remember one of the first videos that I made. I said equipment doesn't really matter because I was still pulling gigs, not having any equipment. I would just rent out speakers, and
Mm.
that was one thing that I was, adamant about. Like, it doesn't really matter the equipment that you have. It matters what you do to the dance floor because ultimately that's what people are going to judge you on.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to say, "Wow, that guy's lights were really great."
Exactly.
No, you might get that, but at the end of the day, if you had a packed dance floor, they're going to see that DJ was pretty good.
Yeah.
If you had a whack dance floor or a slow dance floor, they're going to say that DJ sucked and nobody was dancing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So ultimately, the way we are based, we don't see it that way, or at least most people don't see it that way. But it's based on what you can do on the dance floor.
Yeah.
And I was very adamant about that. So I would pick up a lot of heat of people saying like, "Oh, easy for you to say you have all this free shit. That's why it's working." I'm like, no, it's really just comes down to reading the crowd and what you're gonna play because
Exactly.
nobody's ever hired me for the equipment.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess it would just rub me the wrong way. People would be like, "Oh, you have all this free shit." I'm like, it's not really free because these companies have an alternative motive.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Oh, and they track you. They're like,
Yeah.
here, push this link, and they'll know. If you never hear from the company again, you probably didn't sell or move that product.
Exactly.
If you hear from them again, then chances are you moved the needle a little bit, and you converted a couple people. But it's sales.
Yeah.
It's a business and it's sales. It's not for free.
Yeah.
So whenever I talk about an item, I mean, to me, it honestly doesn't matter if you buy it or not, but it does help. So that's why I always say, like, if you want to support the channel, check them out.
Right. Right.
But I mean, it doesn't hurt because I have enough equipment, so
Yeah.
it's not like I'm like, please send me stuff.
Right.
There's some
Right.
companies that I'd love to work with, but the big behemoth, they don't care about the small fish.
Yeah.
They're just like they have enough. Like for example, like the company like Pioneer, like they're never gonna look at me. They sell themselves, but
Yeah.
it's the small mom and pop shops, which is why they care about that exposure.
Yeah.
They're just like, hey, we got to get our name out there, which is I think the bigger companies, it's a bit of arrogance that they're missing out on influencers because I've seen I've seen the numbers on the back end of seeing how the conversion rates, and I'm just like, wow, like you just get humbled by your audience really likes you that much that they go out and buy this stuff.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Amazon is one of them. Amazon, you can see your conversion rates, and you're just like, wow, these people really want to use what I use. It's crazy.
Now, but one, you do say that, not, it's not always, like the lights and stuff like that, which is, I would say probably 95% of the time people are looking for the DJ for the entertainment, not so much the light shows and stuff. But in some of your videos, I see some of like your productions and stuff, and you really create a very cool atmosphere. But I think that also comes in part by the talent that you have and the energy that you're projecting, but you kind of sync it up pretty cool with your light shows and the way you lay everything out. I mean, you do some pretty good productions, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, aside from that, it was just you got to know what you're doing. I say it. I guess it's counter to what I said, but like you can't half-ass your work. Like I see guys half-assing their work. Like if you're gonna do lights, learn how to do lights properly.
Right, right.
Don't just like stick them on the floor or whatever. Just actually take the time to learn it, to learn how they work, to learn what it is. And honestly, you'll be surprised in the stuff you'll be able to do. That's the biggest thing I tell people. Just take the time to learn it.
Yeah,
Learn the equipment.
yeah,
Because people have the equipment. People have great equipment. They just don't learn it.
yeah. And it's funny because I cannot be one of those DJs that just brings the little gig bar light and that's it. I
Yeah,
mean, I have to have kind of like a little fun show to go with what I'm projecting. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
don't get me wrong, I'm not like no big DMX guy or anything like that.
yeah.
But I like setting things up to where they look nice. They enhance the environment that you're creating. I think that you do that really well.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is just simplifying your shows, just streamlining everything. once you can streamline everything, then you kind of know. Like for me, for example, my shows are so streamlined that I just show up, plug everything in, and it's good to go. There's no programming on the end, on the back, because I've already done that and taken the time to do that at home. Also, I've done like, pre-wired all my stuff, so everything's just plug and play.
All right.
What a lot of guys fall into is they fall into the trap. Oh man, I gotta show up like 5 hours before the event to get
Mhm.
all this stuff ready to go. But I'm just like, if you're at the point where it's just costing you so much time that it's no longer efficient, then it just, just bail on it and find something that works. But the issue is just you not knowing the products that you have, because I see
Right.
a lot of guys that have way better equipment than I do, but they just don't know how to use it.
Right.
And you can get a lot out of these lights.
Yeah. No, and like I say, you do a really good job. I mean, I've seen you, and it's not always the same. It's like, you always have like something unique to you. But I think that, the probably venues that you've been at a lot. And so you kind of know how to set things up. But I mean, it's just, I really like, for me, I like the production aspect. I mean, aside from being on air, after I was on
Yeah,
air on radio, I transitioned to the event marketing department.
yeah,
And so we would do, from little nightclub, concerts to massive concerts over here, like at the
right,
Staples Center and Nokia Theater and stuff like that. So I was always like, I loved watching the show and watching how,
yeah,
we would sync up lights to the music and things like that.
yeah,
Not that I'm doing that, but I just liked to create that ambiance of, that projecting the energy that I'm projecting from the speakers to the surroundings, so that people are kind of
yeah.
getting like a visual and the audio at the same time.
Yeah, and like I said, I came from like a club background, so my
Yeah.
biggest thing is like, how can we turn this into a club, more or less?
Right.
How can we achieve peak club?
Well, you do good, dude. Because I mean, there's some, and again, we're gonna have all Barr's links down at the bottom here in the description, because he's got some amazing stuff going on, and you got to check out the videos. But like, what would you say right now is your favorite genre of music to spin?
So, with this whole quarantine, I've gotten back into more of like a club mindset, which I've been loving.
Mm-hmm.
Just because when I started doing the wedding scene, I was very I was getting very redundant.
Mm-hmm.
I hear DJ say it all the time. Oh, every event is different. And it is, but
It's
it's a little bit of arrogance, because a lot of the couples that we're working for. I mean, predominantly what I do is weddings, and
mm-hmm.
couples are predominantly in the mid to late 20s to 30s.
30s,
So
yeah.
that little age gap right there, they're generally all gonna like the same kind of music.
Right.
So you'll kind of get into a groove. You can kind of just figure it out. All right, this works here, this works there. And yes, there's some stuff that you can kind of pull and put in. But I felt like I knew my sets. Like I knew that my sets like the back of my hand. I was like, okay, I can go into this, and I'm okay, this is gonna work. This is gonna work. I was just going through that in my mind. But one of the things that I used to do when I used to do clubs is learning how to play stuff differently. I was playing the same thing every weekend,
Mm-hmm.
but because you have your regulars, you don't want them to think, oh, he's doing the same thing he did last week.
Right.
At weddings, you can get away with that, so you get a little bit
Yeah.
more lazy, because you're like, yeah, this is a different crowd than the last one, so I can do the exact same sets.
Exactly.
So I've been really getting back into my digging, and I'm playing the same songs, because obviously I'm playing like top songs that you would hear at the clubs if the
Right.
clubs were open now, but I'm playing them differently. And right now what I've been playing is a lot of hip hop has become like mainstream, so I've been playing a lot of hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
reggae and reggaeton, huaracha, which is like Spanish house music.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been really into. But again, I have that club mindset, and that's what I've enjoyed. And when I started DJing, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to DJ clubs. So um, when I do my DJ live streams, that's what I generally like to play. I just like to
Yeah.
play reggae, reggaeton, and just like the newer stuff. So it's a bit of the same, but you can't tell they're the same, because you learn how to play them differently, you find
Exactly.
different remixes and stuff like that. So I've been really enjoying that. But I mean, my favorite genre to mix, that's it changes. I mean, it depends on whatever's hot in the clubs. That's what
There
I'm
you
gonna
go. There you go.
play.
So right now you mentioned streaming and stuff. So what would you say is your favorite platform for streaming live right now?
So I'm a little bit biased because I am on YouTube. Majority of my audience is on YouTube, so that's why I choose YouTube. It's probably not the best, but
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I've never tried any other platform. So I wouldn't be the best one to speak on that just because I've only done YouTube. YouTube is pretty good in the sense that they won't kick you off.
Mm-hmm.
You can do your live stream. They'll take down it won't live forever. It won't be evergreen, but
Right.
once it gets flagged after you're done, it'll get taken down. But you will never get flagged during your stream, which is something that I hear people face in Instagram, Facebook, and
Yeah.
all the other platforms.
Yeah.
The problem is, for most people, I would say growing a YouTube audience is very difficult. So it might not make sense because most
Yeah.
of their audience might be on Facebook or on Instagram.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
it's funny
very
'cause
hard to convert people to different platforms.
yeah, and that's the issue that I'm having right now because when all this started happening, I was like, okay, so how do I keep myself relevant? I mean, we're
Yeah,
shut down. Ain't nobody hiring DJs for any type of event right now. So
right.
how do I keep my name out there? So I start seeing everybody, DJing and streaming, and my big pet peeve at the beginning was, some of the video was, I didn't care too much about the video, but the audio didn't sound great,
Yeah,
and when people started first streaming, then everybody starts getting the right equipment. It started sounding better. So then I said, okay, cool. Now my radio background and my DJ history, I became known as the rock en español guy here in Los
yeah,
Angeles. And my wife was the one that before quarantine happened said, maybe you should do some, live streaming of your rock en español sets. But I
yeah,
didn't want to be that rock en español guy anymore. You know what I mean? I wanted to get away from it.
yeah,
But then I said, all right, let's give it a shot. And it took off and it started happening. And now we get this notification on Facebook that as of October 1st, they're not just going to flag you. They're going to freaking delete your account if you're playing,
Wow,
copywritten stuff.
really?
Yeah, yeah. And so right now I'm going back and I'm starting to delete all the videos that I had there. And I have people tell me, oh, switch over to Twitch. But not everybody wants to go to Twitch. All the people that I have on Facebook, they don't want to go over to Twitch, So it's
Yeah,
kind of like, okay, so how do we entertain people now? What's the right way to do it and stuff.
yeah.
So what's your take on that, man?
Honestly, I'll be honest with you. When this whole live streaming thing happened, I was just rolling my eyes. I'm just like, oh, here we go.
Yeah,
Here we go. Everybody and their mom is doing this. So I
yeah,
was just at first rolling my eyes, but then everybody's like requesting, like, when are you gonna go? When are you gonna go? I'm just like, fine, I'll do it. But I had main concerns because I saw guys were getting really high production values. I was like, wow,
yeah,
these guys are pulling out all the stops with this. I was like, this is incredible what you guys are doing. But my biggest thing was kind of going back to what you said is DJs fall into this like pizzazz thing and they forget like their main job is entertainment.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
what we do with the music, what we do on the
yeah.
dance floor. So I feel like DJs forget. And when I did my live stream, I was just like, I just want mine to sound good. Is that too much to ask? Like I just wanted mine to sound good. That's it. I was like, I don't want no green because I remember guys were doing like they would set up full DJ systems with lights and
Yeah,
LED
yeah.
screens and like green screens. I was just like, damn. I was like, I'm just trying to I bought my controller so I could do live stream. I was like, I don't even want to move my tables and like start setting that up every time I want to live stream.
Yep,
Because there's a
yep,
lot of stuff you have to set up. Like I set up lights, I set up camera, I
yeah.
set up my sound card. That stuff is not like I have a small place. I live in a small apartment, so that stuff can't live in the middle of like
Right.
I don't have a set more or less. So I said I want to just sound good. So I just went out, got myself a nice sound card, and to this day, my video still sucks, but it still pulls view, man. I have yet to figure out the video settings for my camera. It's still like a little bit jittery,
Oh man.
but man, it sounds good, and people come and they tune in.
Yeah.
I did 14 weeks straight every Saturday night, and then I started working, and now I've just been like I haven't done it in 3 weeks, but I'm gonna be going back to it soon, just because
That's good.
it was so much fun, and honestly, like for me, it was a source of income.
Hmm.
I was like, you have no idea how much that helped because when YouTube, when the quarantine started, YouTube took a hit too.
Yeah.
There were no advertising. So like, I was like, okay, how am I gonna make money because I'm not working? Luckily, I have this YouTube thing. YouTube pays me. Problem with YouTube is if there's no ads, you can't get paid.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna beat the system. I'm gonna make more videos. And then I was working myself. I was cranking out videos every single day when the
Wow.
quarantine originally started. I moved from 1 video a week to 5 videos a week. So I
And
was
how
doing
long do you take? How long does each producing each video take you?
it was an
Like,
all day process. It was very difficult. I'm not gonna lie, it was very difficult. I would wake up and like, okay, what am I gonna talk about today? By 12, I have to be recording. 11 or by 12, I have to be recording, and then I would have to be editing by 3.
wow,
That way, I can have something up by around 8ish. So it was an all day thing.
all day
And it was
thing.
very difficult, just because
Yeah,
I was like, okay, what's my topic today? What's my topic today?
yeah.
Um,
That's the other
so
thing,
it got
coming up with topics, right?
Yeah, and it was very difficult. And then I just kept seeing like I would log on to my YouTube and it was just like the numbers were just still crashing.
Hmm.
And I'm like, man, I'm doing 5 videos of work. I'm killing myself, and I'm not even seeing like the benefit of it. Like I thought I was gonna save my revenue. I wanted to keep my revenue at least the same, if not more, because I
Hmm.
was doing 4 times the work. But it was just not working. It was still going downhill. And then I'm just like, let me try these live streams. And man, the donations, my audience came through,
That's
man. Like I
cool.
was making like $200 to $300 a night in donations, and I'm just like,
Nice.
wow, man, this is great. So that just like it helped me out so much.
That's huge.
So I took a break from making videos for a long time. I actually just came back 3 weeks ago. So I stopped making videos for like two months,
Hmm.
and I was just doing live streams every week, and man, that was working. I was making more money doing live streams than I was making videos.
That's wild.
So yeah, man, I'm all for the live stream, but again, I'm also I'm going back to the platforms things. I'm not the type of person that I want to be the first. I want to be the type of person that does it right, kind of like that Apple mindset, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's like, everybody go to Twitch, and I'm just like, I don't. It's very difficult to pivot an audience. I'm just like,
Yeah.
nah. But if
Yeah.
I see it's working, then damn sure I'm gonna be
Yeah.
next in line. But I don't want to be the first. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I just because it's a lot of work. Um, and I see guys like I don't know if you follow social media, but the biggest Twitch guy was Ninja,
Ninja.
and he got moved to another platform called Mixer, and he
Yeah.
was the biggest guy on Twitch, and he couldn't move the needle over at Mixer.
Makes her.
So it's very
Yeah.
difficult to move an audience. No
Yeah.
matter how famous you are, it's very difficult to tell everybody, hey, everybody, stop using that.
And
Go
come
use
over here.
this.
Yeah.
It's very
and
difficult to do.
and that's where I'm at a crossroads, because I will tell you this, I'm one of the guys that like I said, I'm guilty of it, because when I started doing it, I said I just want to make sure, first of all, that it sounds good. I don't think I'm gonna have great video quality. Literally, I was just using my iPhone, and I'm messing around and going straight. I had a little iRig and going straight to
Yeah.
Facebook and just had it up. But then I started seeing these guys coming up with these cool productions and 2 cameras, and I was like, man, I wonder how they do that. That's kind of cool. I'd like to do that, And then I started getting into that. And I started YouTubing and checking out tutorials and started setting all that up. And then but then at the same time, what I liked about it was that it started sparking my creativity again, something
Yeah.
that I had let go a long time ago. I
Yeah.
started doing, reworks again, pulling out. I mean, over here in LA, my audience, they freaking love the high energy disco from the 80s and the new wave and stuff like that. But all the other DJs were playing it, the exact same songs that I was probably
Yeah.
going to spin. So I said, you know what? Let me just pull out my old laptop, and I started re-editing the songs, adding more beats to it, a little more modern kick, and it started, I started having fun with it, and I started enjoying it, and I think this has helped DJs to get more creative. Like you said, you were, just doing. You said, let me do this, and then all of a sudden, boom, something else started to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree, man. Like I feel so much more creative, and going back to these events, I'm just like, man, I'm ready to rock
Yeah.
out. But then it's also like, damn, I forgot that the new stuff doesn't work at private events.
Right.
Like you can't just go. You're not in the business of breaking records. Where
Yeah.
when I was doing my I called it Club Quarantine. I themed out my whole thing. It was just like I wanted the nightclub experience. So I would say that, we got bottles on deck. VIPs are sold out. Like that. That's like the kind of theme I had in my
Right.
live streams. So it was very like a clubby atmosphere. But now I'm starting to do events now, and I'm just like, yeah, man, I'm gonna rock out these sets that I've created. And then I'm just like, oh man. It just
wild.
don't work for weddings. It doesn't
Yeah.
translate well. It's two different universes. So I found myself going back. But man, yeah, it's honestly just it's honed my skills. It just feels so good to be kind of back to the fundamentals, back to the basics. And something that I haven't shared with my audience is that with my club quarantine, that's what I call my live streams. There's a lot of back end that goes into that. Like, there's a lot of music research that I do before I go live. This is not something that I'm just like. I feel like that's something that DJs neglect. Again, they worry too much about the pizzazz, and they forget like the music. So with my thing, I was just like, all right, I got to come out with a solid set for 1 hour. That's it. It's just gonna be an hour. It's not gonna be like I'm gonna go on till whenever.
Right.
It was very structured. It was, I got 1 hour. I got to make an awesome show. It's also got to be a different show than the show that was last week. So I put in a lot of work to that. Like, the show was only an hour, but I was doing like 3-4 hours of just me sitting down, going through record pools, looking for edits, and then just kind of messing around with the songs. It's like, oh, does these two go well together? Kind of like a lot of that, because it was just like I was opening up my computer and like, here we go, let me wing it. It was very like, I took the time to find new records, to find songs that would work well together, and it translated well, man, because I started uploading my mixes to Mixcloud as well. And my Mixcloud, man, I grew my Mixcloud from like, I started at like 500 and now I'm up to like 2,000 people listening to my Mixcloud mixes. So it honestly, it paid off, because I was able to grow a little bit of following on that platform over there.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. Now, you in your neck of the woods, you guys are already doing events. Here in Los Angeles, we're still shut down. There's very little events that are happening.
Technically we're not allowed to do events yet. It's just people have been finding loopholes.
Yeah.
So here you can't dine indoors, so you can have outdoor dining. So the venues are like, oh, you can get married outside. We'll serve some food outside.
There you go.
So that's what a lot of people are doing. We've been doing a lot of outside stuff.
Yeah, because I saw you going
illegal.
through some rain showers, hardcore stuff too, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and like, outdoor weddings aren't common here in Jersey. They do happen, I don't want to say that this is my first time, but they're just not common just because of our weather here, Right. I remember I had one of my friends from California. He came here during the summertime. He was like, why is it raining? I'm like, what do you mean, why is it raining? He's like, it rains in the summertime? I was just like, it rains every day. He was like so in awe that it was raining in August.
Yeah, we very rarely get rain over here, bro. So it's like, for us to see rain during summertime, it's like, what the hell's going on now? That's funny. Now,
so he was like in awe.
The transition right now from the way you were DJing before quarantine to now, I mean, there's I'm assuming a lot of little logistics, little different things that you got to do to keep yourself protected, to keep your clients protected. How are you dealing with that?
I got to be honest with you, because like, I feel like there's like a lot of naysayers to the coronavirus type of thing. And I felt like I was always somewhere in the middle. Whereas in like, I was never that person that was like overly cautious, but I'm also not that person that's like in total disbelief. That was like, no, that's not real. So I have to tell you, like, my first couple of events back, I've been a little bit sketched out. I'm not going to lie. Like, when people are close to me, I'm just like, get the hell away from me kind of thing. Like, I honestly don't want people around me, but I'm enjoying being back.
Yeah.
I mean, the safety precautions that we just taken is just like, I'm carrying around hand sanitizer everywhere I go. So I got my booth set up, and then I'm pumping away all night. Like, even mixing in a song, pumping away my hand sanitizer. It's just like, it's there. I don't know if it's just like a habit. I'm just like pumping away. Like, even here, whenever I pass it, I'm just like pumping away. I guess it's not because I'm like overly cautious. I'm just I see it, so I pump away.
No.
But I mean, it's been business as usual, man. It's kind of eerie. I did a wedding that was like, holy shit, there's probably so much coronavirus here. Man, I did a wedding and it was rocking, man. It was rocking it. I was like, damn, I guess fuck coronavirus.
Right.
And that was actually the wedding where I had like drunk people coming up to me and asking me for requests, and I was just like, get the fuck away from me kind of thing. I was so freaked out, man. But no, honestly, like, again, I do care. I do think it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Um, but it, I'm just happy to be back working.
Good for you, man.
I'm happy to be back working, but I am taking precautions. I'm wearing my mask. I'm doing the hand sanitizer, and I'm telling people to stay the fuck away from me.
And I'm assuming it gets hard because, like you say, people
Yeah.
get drunk and they don't care. They're like, "Hey, play my song, man," and it's like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, man,
wild.
and that's another thing. Like I haven't wanted to because I've been working. I've done I think 6 weddings back.
Mhm.
And some of these I'm just like, damn, I can't share this. There's no way I can share this. It's not the right time.
Mm,
Just because I'm just like, oh my God.
yeah,
This is a little nuts right now.
yeah.
It's one of those things that you hear like, oh, party in like the Hollywood
Right.
Hills kind of thing. And I've been part of 2 events and I'm just like, I can't share this. I can't share
Just be
this.
careful, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
we had a
Yeah.
friend that he's this guy, man. He's just like good
Yeah.
times, good times, good times. Didn't
Yeah.
matter what, and somebody threw a party. He went out there and ended up catching it. He got it,
Yeah.
and I mean,
That's
luckily he got through it.
yeah.
But you just got to be
No,
careful,
dude.
man.
Again, I'm the same way. I'm not. I'm like, after I do this event, if I cough, I'm like, oh shit, oh shit. Like I'm all freaked
Okay,
out, man. If
that's
I
it.
sneeze, I'm all freaked out. But yeah, man. The other events that I've done 6. 2 of them I would say were very like, this is kind of fucked up.
Mm,
Um, the other events, they were. I didn't see anything wrong with them. There were 40 people
that's good.
outside. It was normal. The other 2 events, it was very lenient to when they say outside. It was just like, missing one side of a wall that they consider that outside. I'm like,
Outside, yeah,
I wouldn't consider that outside.
yeah.
And then the other one, it was outside, but it was just like a lot of people. There was a
Oh
lot of
man,
people outside, and it was just like, technically they can't have dance floors, so they don't leave like a place to dance. So people were just crowding, and it just looked
wow,
like a packed little area where people were dancing.
yeah,
But yeah, man, I gotta tell you, the small ones I don't really get too scared, but the big ones are the ones that kind of have me on my toe a little bit. Where I'm just
yeah,
like, everybody, get away.
yeah. That's wild, man. Well,
Yeah,
just be safe out there, man, because
yeah,
we want to keep watching your videos and stuff. And the
yeah.
last thing we want is to see you with doing a tutorial on how to do the proper ventilation, man,
Yeah.
on a machine
How
and
to
stuff.
get rid of
Right.
coronavirus.
Crazy. Well, listen, brother, I got to tell you, man, I've been very impressed with all the stuff that you've been doing. I admire you, like I said at the beginning. And I really appreciate you, man, taking the time to chat with me on this little endeavor that I decided to take on, man. And what's
Yeah.
up next for you, man? What is there anything that you're working on that might want to share something, or just what you got?
No, nothing, man. I've really just been on my toes just because I don't know what's gonna happen
Mhm.
as far as the DJ world. So it's just really had me on edge. You know, with DJing, job security is something that you always worry about,
Yeah,
just because you never know where your next paycheck is gonna come from.
yeah,
So it's never been more like that, more than ever, just because with DJing you can forecast super easy. You can just move to your calendar and be like, how's my month looking? How's my month looking? How's
right,
my month
right.
looking? So you can look ahead in time and see how much money you're gonna have coming in. The issue that I had was, since I had so many postponements, so many cancels, it made my schedule very blotchy. So, I just worked 3 weeks in a row. I did 2 events each week, and now I'm off for another 3 weeks.
Mm,
So it's just it puts me on my toes. So right now it's just trying to secure income more or less.
mhm.
You know, uh, right now I'm going back to making videos. I did take a bit of a hiatus with the video, so just getting back into a routine of making videos weekly, and then also doing my weekly live streams. Hopefully, trying to
That's
generate
cool.
some tips doing that way. That's aside it, man. I got no projects in line. I'm just I'm hoping for a better 2021.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So prior to coronavirus, how many weddings were you averaging a year?
So this year I was on track to do 100
Oh.
weddings in 2020.
Mhm.
Last year I did 87, I believe, 87,
Oh.
85. So yeah, this year I was on target to do 100. And I'm a numbers guy, so I ran my numbers, and I had about I would say, I think I ran my numbers in August, and it's looking like it's gonna be like a 60%, 65% drop off on revenue this year.
Wow,
So it's a
that's a big
big
chunk.
drop
Yeah,
off. Yeah,
that's a
it's a
big
big
chunk.
chunk. But it makes sense because we lost the bulk, which is
Yeah,
summer and spring. If we lose fall, it's probably going to be like an 80%. The thing is, for a lot of guys, they didn't work any events, but I work year round,
mm-hmm.
so I never really have an off season. So
Right,
I
right, right.
still did a lot of weddings, like January, February, March. I did a ton of events
That's good.
in all that time. But yeah, just they took that away from us, so
Sucks,
you're
man.
never gonna get that back.
Sucks, man. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
literally, I had to start reinventing myself, man. Because when we hit that wall, man, it was like boom. And luckily, I had two cancellations. Everything else got postponed to next year for
yeah,
now. You know, because we're not sure what's gonna happen.
yeah,
But it was thanks to Joe Bunn that one day I'm watching him on Facebook. He's on Facebook Live, and he says, "Hey man, so what other things can you guys do to make money and stuff?" And somebody was saying, "Oh, I can design a DJ logo." Another one said, "Well, I'm trying to do T-shirts." And I just popped in there and I said, "Hey, I can do DJ drops." And he's all like, "Hey, Fernando does DJ drops, so why don't you guys reach out to him?" And then they started reaching out, and he's all, "Hey man," he goes, "Send me your website, bro, man. I just came up, created a website in 2 days, and said, here you go," and just put it together. So I kind of like transitioned to doing that and
yeah,
doing some live streams to keep myself relevant, keep my name out
yeah,
there, and just
yeah,
trying to generate like you say
yeah.
some dollars, man.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying. Everybody's trying to find their own little side hustle.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, the same thing. I was just trying to see what stuck. For a while, I was just contemplating. I was like, man, I might have to go get a job.
yeah,
Just for the just to make it through. Just because the problem. And I've talked to people about this, and there's a bit of arrogance that I see. It's just a lot of people are like, "Oh, you weren't prepared," or something like that. When I say like, "What are you guys doing to make money?" I'm a little bit nervous.
mm-hmm.
Just because you. The problem is that you can be as prepared as you want. The problem is there's no end date.
Yeah,
So, for example, for me, I'm very on top of my finances.
right,
And you can have like a 6 month emergency fund. You can have a backup plan.
right,
The
right.
problem is when there's no end. You're just like, okay, how much do I need to budget? Is this going to be, at first I thought this was going to be 3 months. Now we're into the
Yeah,
6 month territory. And technically we're still in lockdown. So I'm assuming the year is shot,
yeah, yeah.
It's very hard to tell somebody don't work for 1 year and, you'll be okay. So I see like a lot of the arrogance in the DJ world, like, oh, your businesses just weren't prepared. I'm just like, bro, how do you prepare for that? How do you
Yeah.
prepare for a year of no work?
Exactly. I mean, it's like
So
it's like I hate to
it's
say it, but
hard, man.
like they say, it's unprecedented. It is. Unfortunately, we've never experienced
Yeah,
anything like this. One thing is to
yeah,
have to deal with a natural disaster, an earthquake, a hurricane, or something like that. Okay, you
yeah,
kind of it's different, but this is something that, like you say, it's invisible. You don't know if and when it's gonna end. It's and
yeah,
there's no way to prepare for it.
yeah. This is it's impossible. So just trying to find little side hustles, and a lot of guys, for a lot of guys, it was good. I mean, for me, I would have never thought that I would be able to generate money doing live streams. So that was great. I was
Mm.
making more money doing the live streams than I ever did when I was working at clubs. I was just like, damn, I was doing the wrong thing.
Right? That's awesome, dude. Well,
Yeah, man.
dude, again, I gotta thank you for taking the time and sitting here and talking with me, man, and BSing, and I love it, man. I just love the fact that we were able to connect this way, man. I like I said, I've been admiring you for like about a year now, and I appreciate all the stuff that you do for DJs and helping us out and teaching us a new thing here and then and just sharing your story, man. I love it. Thank you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I really appreciate it. When's this gonna be out?
Actually, in about a week or two, because I got a
Oh,
couple other people's lined up, so we're gonna. But I'm gonna share it with you. We'll start promoting it ahead
awesome.
of time, and then we're gonna put it out there. But I'll definitely send you the link and everything. And again, man, thank you so much, and please
Yeah.
keep it up, dude, because we need you. We need you, your inspiration to keep us going, and you do an awesome job, brother. Thank you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. I
You
appreciate
got
it.
it, man. And you all that are watching, don't forget, if you really like this episode, make sure that you hit that like button. Of course, hit the subscribe button. Click that bell so you get notified when we have another amazing talent on DJ to DJ. Brother, again, thank you very much. God bless. Stay safe.
Woo.